We are wrapping up the Global Produce and Floral Show here in Anaheim, California, with Big Al, the icon, across from the Blue Book booth, and trying to talk about a couple of the things we saw on the show floor. Did you see any trends that kind of stood out to you?
Well, definitely sustainable packaging. There were so many companies with sustainable packaging options, different kinds of recyclable, compostable. Um, from what I'm hearing, the buyers have requested the supply community needs to come up with sustainable solutions, and it looks like they're coming up with sustainable solutions. So the next question is, are retailers going to pay a little extra because they cost extra? And then are they going to pass it on to consumers? Because studies consistently show consumers love the idea of sustainable packaging, but do not like the idea of paying more for it.
Right. That's the big question and also we're talking about recyclability. One of the things that we saw in the panel that I watched yesterday during the education sessions that was so long ago. I mean, 2 days of the show floor.
It ages you. It's like space-time travel. You come back 5 days older. It was only 2 days.
Yeah. But some of the fees that we're talking about and things like that are trying to push recycling forward, because we've got some sustainability goals in, I believe it was California, she said, that wants to have 100% recyclable packaging in 10 years, but the infrastructure not there.
Right.
So if we want to push these goals, we got to have the infrastructure to support it. So I did see quite a few sustainable packages. I also saw a lot of things that match one of my food trends from 2023, a lot of Asian veg.
Oh.
And a lot of creative uses of things like king oyster mushrooms. More than one company had slabs or chips or interesting cuts of king oyster mushrooms to use those in different ways. Overwrap trays of Napa cabbage, Chinese broccoli, and then pomelos.
Really?
Many booths of pomelos. And that was not something that I'd seen them on and off, but I feel like I'm seeing them everywhere at this show. Like at every citrus place has a display of pomelos. And before, I think that they would have been an afterthought.
Yeah. Well, so that's still pretty niche.
Oh yeah, niche. That is
Apples,
super niche.
apples are not.
No.
And there are new apple varieties here, and that's awesome to see because, like several of them are Honeycrisp crosses with unknown parents on the other side.
Honeycrisp gets around.
Yeah, no kidding. Maybe it's a Minnesota thing. But yeah, they're really good varieties.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people, Honeycrisp flew onto the scene, but it's an intense flavor, and sometimes the crosses make it a little more, I don't know. My palate, Honeycrisp can be too much. Crosses with Honeycrisp, I like better.
Well, I like the one of the most noteworthy Honeycrisp crosses over the last couple of years, the Cosmic Crisp.
Yeah.
That's a Honeycrisp cross, but we're seeing other varieties of unknown origin crossing with Honeycrisp. Sugar Bee is one of them that was released in. It's not brand new, but there's certainly a marketing push behind that. And then the yellow one,
Honey Bear has one of the crosses that's in limited production right now that will be available January through March, they said, in limited supply. And then they told me it was like year 3 of a 5-year process, and this is year 3, so years 4 and 5 will be much bigger volume.
And then one of my favorites is Crips Pink and Honeycrisp. That's Wild Twist, and that's an Eastern apple. So there are quite a few different apple innovations. And just in the flavor category, I also saw different ways to add flavor to produce. So Monterey Mushrooms has a new kit that has mushrooms in it with a sauce. If you walk through here and you're hungry, the mushroom booths will get you because you're like, what is that amazing smell?
Yeah.
And when I cook mushrooms at home, I often don't have that culinary experience. It's just butter and salt sometimes. And so to offer that restaurant quality, that chef curated recipe type thing, I saw several different ways to prepare mushrooms that had the recipe added to it. I saw like pouches of like butter and garlic from the garlic companies, but in a pouch form to kind of add that flavor boost. And then I also saw one that was like you dip fruit in it, but it's like a cocoa powder type thing. So it was like a fit version of chocolate dip.
Oh, okay.
So I mean, I guess it would be like Lickamade, like the fun drips,
Right. Yeah.
only for chocolate and produce. So I'm like, if you need your produce to taste like chocolate, I guess this would be a way for to achieve it.
That's for the Asian vegetables.
Yeah,
To take the bitterness away.
Melissa's has that funny, weird miracle berry thing where if you eat it, everything you taste afterward tastes sweet. So sour things taste sweet. And Robert Schuller does his annual presentation. And he's like, I have these, but you can't try them because if you try them, then it's going to mess up your taste buds.
Yeah.
For the next day or so. And so I'm still curious about it. Like if you eat one of those, is it going to be like a Willy Wonka experience where everything tastes funny?
Yeah.
So the flavor kind of thing, I'm seeing things to give consumers the tools to get the flavor that they want out of produce. So
Yeah, flavor is definitely a trend, and it's a great trend because American consumers know produce is good for you. So we have to enjoy it fresh and have a plant them to
yeah,
tell them it's worth your time.
well,
It's
and
just
give
the
them the
culinary
tools.
experience and make it easy, like with these mushroom packs and stuff. Yeah, consumers need it to be made easy.
Because if they're just like throwing it in a steamer on its own, maybe they're not getting the same enjoyment out of it than everyone who walks the show floor and tries the amazing recipes. If they're not able to do that at home, then they're not going to keep purchasing produce. They're just going to go back to, the canned aisle that everything is already cooked and ready for
Right.
them, or not necessarily canned. I'm just talking about CPG packaging,
Right.
already processed food that tastes consistent from here to here to here. But if you find out how to make the produce taste the way you're experiencing it when an expert in produce is preparing it, then yeah, that totally makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Along those lines, there were a lot of products like Lunchables, Snackables, new products to get produce more in that snack space. There's a ton of new products here. Crunch Pack always has new stuff.
The Apple Crisp, yeah,
Yeah.
that was the Produce Mom
Oh,
collaboration.
right. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's tons of them, and I think we're going to start seeing them in retail, and you know, just produce being in that mix in different ways. That's easy to do in a snackable form. That's a very good sign.
I also saw some meal kit things. Ready Pack is trying pasta. We've seen pasta attempts in the produce department before, but they had a meal kit that was a basil tomato pesto pasta. I would love to get my hands on one of those to give it a whirl. See how it works out, because we've seen the bleeding edge folks that come in and try it and then it didn't work out. But give it 5 or 10 years and see if we can get this to work again. The technology, the shelf life, the packaging solutions are all leaps and bounds ahead of what they were 10 years ago. So maybe this kind of concept will be a winner this time. So
I get the feeling that you're going to try a lot of these products in your kitchen for some future videos.
I hope so. I'm going to be making some calls when I get back to the office. Be like, hey, I saw this at IFPA. Can I try it?
Yeah, I like your chances. I think a lot of them are going to take you up on that.
All right. Well, that's it for our IFPA Global Produce and Floral Show recap, special edition. If you are not getting the Produce Reporter, you need to go to producebluebook.com and sign up. So back to the office. Yeah.
Yeah, it's all office from here. Oh, except for me, I'll be in Tucson in a couple weeks.
Yeah, I'll miss that one. So
Yeah,
have fun this
sorry.
wipe.
Yeah,
Have fun golfing for me. Yeah.
It's only one day of golf now instead of two. It's such a